You wake up with a heavy head, numb fingers, and that thick, frustrating brain fog that makes it hard to focus on your morning routine. You probably brush it off, assuming this is just what getting older feels like, or maybe you just slept in the wrong position. But here is the truth, the hidden danger that most doctors don't take the time to warn you about. Those morning symptoms aren't just normal aging. They are a warning sign. While you sleep, a silent, destructive process is actively attacking your microblood vessels and starving your brain cells of oxygen. And the most shocking part? This silent mistake is triggered by supposedly harmless everyday foods that most seniors ignore. Snacks you are probably eating right before you turn off the lights. The American Neurological Association is clear about this. Once you cross the age of 60, your circulatory system becomes significantly more vulnerable. Your blood vessels lose their elasticity, and the natural nighttime cleanup process in your brain, the glymphatic system, begins to slow down. What makes this especially dangerous is that millions of older adults are unknowingly sabotaging this exact repair window. You might think you're just having a light, innocent evening snack, but you are actually triggering chronic low-grade inflammation and thickening your blood right when your circulation needs to be at its smoothest. The hard truth is that the supplement industry wants you to keep buying expensive memory pills and blood thinners rather than addressing the root cause sitting right in your pantry. A pill cannot fix a dietary habit that is actively choking off the oxygen supply to your brain cells every single night. Today, we are going to walk through 7 specific everyday foods that clinical research shows are actively damaging your blood flow and memory during sleep, and exactly what you should be doing instead. Before we get into it, I'd love to know where you are watching from right now. Drop your city or country in the comments below. We are building a real global community here, people who refuse to accept cognitive decline and poor circulation as something inevitable. Now, let's count down from number 7. Let's start with number 7, and this is one that catches almost everyone off guard. Store-bought, salted roasted nuts. Nuts are widely marketed as the ultimate heart-healthy snack, right? So, grabbing a handful of salted mixed nuts, cashews, or roasted peanuts while sitting in your recliner watching your favorite evening show seems like a smart, responsible choice. But here's what most people don't realize. When you consume highly salted, commercially roasted nuts just an hour or 2 before bed, you are essentially pouring a massive dose of concentrated sodium straight into your bloodstream at the absolute worst possible time. During deep sleep, your body relies on a natural, vital physiological process called nocturnal dipping. Your blood pressure is supposed to naturally drop by about 10 to 20%. This is a critical window that allows your blood vessels to relax, repair, and gives your heart a much-needed rest. But that massive influx of late-night sodium acts like a physical roadblock. It forces your body to retain fluid, artificially driving up your blood volume. The result? Your blood pressure stays elevated all night long. Your blood vessels remain tight and constricted. And because your peripheral circulation, the blood flow to your extremities, naturally slows down as you get older, that excess fluid has nowhere to go. This is exactly why you might wake up with your rings feeling unusually tight, swollen ankles, hands that feel stiff and numb, or a lingering morning headache that takes a full pot of coffee to clear. You might blame your pillow or your sleeping posture, but it is actually your vascular system struggling to cope. And this is where it becomes dangerous. Over time, consistently missing out on that vital nocturnal blood pressure drop significantly increases your risk of microvascular damage deep inside the brain. The tiny, fragile capillaries that feed oxygen to your memory centers simply cannot withstand that relentless night-after-night pressure. So, what is the fix here? You do not need to give up nuts entirely. The healthy omega-3 fats in nuts are genuinely beneficial for your brain tissue. The crucial step is to swap those glossy, heavily salted, oil-roasted nuts for raw, unsalted walnuts or almonds. Better yet, move that snack to the mid-afternoon. If you absolutely must have a crunch before bed, keep it strictly salt-free. A minor shift in your evening routine, but a massive relief for your nighttime circulation. Coming in at number 6 is a snack heavily promoted to older adults as light, digestion-friendly, and perfectly healthy: flavored yogurt and canned fruit. You finish dinner, watch a little television, and crave something slightly sweet. You don't want a heavy slice of cake, so you reach for a cup of pre-sweetened strawberry yogurt or a small bowl of peaches and syrup. It feels like a responsible, innocent choice. The real problem starts when you look at how your body processes these specific foods at 9 p.m. at 9 p.m. Those seemingly harmless snacks are absolutely loaded with refined sugars, artificial flavorings, and often high-fructose corn syrup. When you consume concentrated sugar right before laying down, you trigger an immediate and aggressive spike in your blood glucose levels. To handle that sudden rush of sugar, your pancreas is forced to pump out a surge of insulin, and this is exactly where it sabotages your brain. A late-night insulin spike acts as a massive chemical disruptor, actively suppressing your pineal gland's ability to produce melatonin, the vital hormone that orchestrates your sleep-wake cycle. But the damage goes deeper than just having a hard time falling asleep. Because your blood sugar was artificially spiked, it will inevitably crash a few hours later, right in the middle of the night. This biological roller coaster pulls you out of slow-wave deep sleep. Why does that matter? Deep sleep is the exact phase when your brain consolidates memories. It is the time when your brain acts like an overnight librarian, taking the events, names, and information from the day and permanently filing them into your long-term memory. When you disrupt that process with a late-night sugar crash, that filing system completely breaks down. You wake up the next morning feeling deeply groggy. You walk into the kitchen and forget why you went in there. You struggle to pull a familiar name out of your vocabulary. You blame your aging memory, but in reality, you robbed your brain of its essential processing time with a cup of sugary yogurt. If you genuinely need a bedtime snack that soothes the stomach without wrecking your memory, make a simple, powerful switch. Choose plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. If you need flavor, add a tiny dash of pure cinnamon. Cinnamon actually contains natural compounds that help stabilize blood sugar overnight, keeping your insulin quiet and allowing your brain to do its crucial memory-saving work. Number 5 is a health trend that has exploded in popularity recently, particularly for seniors looking to protect their aging joints. Bone broth, specifically leftover or slow-cooked bone broth. Now, bone broth itself is a fantastic food. It is packed with collagen, minerals, and amino acids. Because of this, many older adults have gotten into the habit of sipping a warm mug of it right before bed, or having a late bowl of leftover stew, thinking it will soothe their stomach and lubricate their joints overnight. What happens next may surprise you, because the danger doesn't come from the ingredients. It comes from the clock. When meats and bones are slow-cooked for 12 to 24 hours, or when a batch of homemade soup sits in your refrigerator for a few days, a specific, invisible chemical reaction occurs. Natural, harmless bacteria begin breaking down the amino acids in the protein, converting them into a potent compound called histamine. The longer the broth cooks or sits in the fridge, the exponentially higher those histamine levels climb. Histamine is the exact same chemical your immune system releases during an allergic reaction. When you drink a concentrated mug of this high histamine broth late at night, your digestive system absorbs it directly into your bloodstream. Your body perceives this sudden influx as a mild threat, triggering a systemic, low-grade inflammatory response right when your vascular system is trying to calm down. This is why you might suddenly wake up at 2 a.m. with your heart racing uncomfortably, feeling inexplicably anxious, jittery, or even flushed and sweaty. Histamine is also an excitatory neurotransmitter. It promotes wakefulness in the brain. Flooding your system with it right before bed forces your nervous system into a state of high alert, completely shattering your deep sleep cycles. Furthermore, elevated histamine levels cause your blood vessels to dilate rapidly and become leaky, which can mildly compromise the delicate blood-brain barrier. The next morning, instead of feeling refreshed and mobile, you wake up with a heavy, throbbing head, puffy eyes, and a thick layer of brain fog that refuses to lift. You might think you just had a random bad night's sleep, completely unaware that your healthy evening soup was the culprit. If you want the joint-supporting benefits of bone broth without the nighttime vascular stress, here is the rule. Keep your cooking times shorter and freeze the leftovers immediately in individual portions. Never let it sit in the fridge for days to be reheated for late-night meals. If you need a warm, soothing drink before bed, a simple cup of chamomile or peppermint tea is a far safer ritual for your brain and blood vessels. Moving on to number 4, and this is an item sitting in almost every senior's pantry right now: store-bought crackers, saltines, and plain-baked biscuits. You feel a little empty before bed. You don't want anything sweet or heavy, so you grab a small sleeve of crackers. Maybe you pair it with a slice of turkey, or just eat them plain. It feels incredibly light, easy to digest, and it is a classic old-school go-to remedy if you suffer from mild nighttime acid reflux. But here is the critical detail that the food industry desperately wants to keep hidden in the fine print. The danger here isn't just about the empty carbohydrates. It is about how these products are chemically engineered to stay perfectly crispy inside a cardboard box for months or even years. To achieve that unnatural, indefinite shelf life, manufacturers rely heavily on partially hydrogenated oils and highly refined industrial seed oils. Even if the front of the box proudly claims zero trans fats, regulatory loopholes allow them to sneak in trace amounts of these oxidized lipids under the radar. When you ingest these heavily processed fats right before laying down, they enter your bloodstream precisely when your circulation naturally slows down for sleep. These oxidized fats are highly reactive. Inside your body, they act like microscopic sandpaper, literally scraping against the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. A critical, fragile layer known as the endothelium. This friction triggers an immediate defensive immune response. Your body sends inflammatory markers rushing to the site to try and repair the microdamage. The real problem starts when you make this a nightly habit. This relentless, low-grade inflammation leads directly to the calcification and hardening of your arteries. Your blood vessels lose their youthful elasticity. They become rigid, stiff, and narrow. When your arteries cannot expand and contract properly, the total volume of oxygen-rich blood reaching your brain drops drastically. This is not a sudden crisis, but a slow, silent suffocation of your cognitive centers. Months down the line, you start experiencing unexplainable memory lapses. You struggle to find the right words in the middle of a normal conversation. Or you walk into a room and stand there completely blank. You might quietly assume it is early-stage dementia or unavoidable cognitive decline, but it is very often vascular damage driven by the very snacks you thought were harmlessly settling your stomach. If you genuinely need something mild and dry to settle a late-night stomach, step away from the highly processed cracker aisle. A small handful of plain, air-popped popcorn or a thin slice of genuine, slow-fermented sourdough bread provides the comfort you need without introducing industrial, artery-hardening oils into your bloodstream while you sleep. Number 3 is a sophisticated evening treat that many older adults consider completely harmless, especially if they are trying to eat fewer carbohydrates. Aged cheeses. We are talking about sharp cheddar, aged Gouda, Parmesan, Swiss, and blue cheese. You might enjoy a few small slices of cheese with a few grapes, or perhaps half a glass of red wine as you wind down for the night. It feels like a satisfying, high-protein, low-sugar way to end your day without feeling overly full. But here's what most people don't realize about the cheese-making process. The exact same aging process that gives these hard cheeses their complex, sharp flavors also breaks down their proteins, creating a highly concentrated amino acid byproduct called tyramine. Tyramine is not inherently toxic, but it acts as a very potent trigger for your adrenal glands. When you consume a block of tyramine-rich cheese in the late evening, it forces your body to release norepinephrine, a powerful fight-or-flight neurotransmitter. Instead of winding down, you are chemically commanding your central nervous system to wake up, be alert, and prepare for action. The real problem starts when you actually get into bed. You feel physically exhausted from a long day, but your mind simply refuses to shut off. You lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling, with your thoughts racing uncontrollably. Even if you eventually manage to drift off, that lingering norepinephrine physically blocks your brain from dropping down into the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep. Why is this critical for seniors? Because deep sleep is the exact and only time when your brain activates its waste clearance system to flush out amyloid beta plaques. These are the sticky, toxic proteins that, if left to accumulate over time, are directly linked to Alzheimer's disease and severe memory loss. By eating aged cheese before bed, you are effectively locking the doors to your brain's overnight cleaning crew. You wake up the next morning feeling groggy, unrefreshed, and mentally slow. You might assume you just had a restless night, but in reality, you chemically disrupted your brain's essential repair cycle. If you genuinely crave cheese in the evening and want to protect your cognitive health, you must avoid the hard, fermented, and aged varieties. Swap them out for fresh, unfermented options like cottage cheese or a small spoonful of ricotta. These fresh cheeses contain virtually no tyramine. Instead, they are rich in tryptophan, an amino acid that actually helps your brain produce serotonin and smoothly transition into the deep, memory-protecting sleep you desperately need. Coming in at number 2 is a staple in almost every refrigerator, heavily relied upon for a quick, effortless late-night bite. Deli meats, sliced ham, and pre-packaged sausages. You are feeling a little hungry before bed, so you head to the kitchen and grab a couple of slices of turkey breast, or maybe you roll up a piece of ham. It is high in protein, 0 sugar, and requires absolutely 0 cooking. It seems like the perfect, harmless midnight snack to hold you over until breakfast without sitting heavily in your stomach. And this is where it becomes incredibly dangerous for your vascular health. The threat here has nothing to do with the meat itself, but rather how it is processed to maintain that unnatural pink color and stay fresh in plastic packaging for weeks. Commercial deli meats are heavily pumped full of synthetic chemical preservatives, specifically sodium nitrates and nitrites. When you consume these concentrated chemical preservatives late at night, they undergo a dangerous transformation inside your acidic stomach, converting into highly reactive compounds called nitrosamines. As these nitrosamines enter your bloodstream, they launch a direct, highly oxidative attack on the endothelium, the ultra-thin, delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. The endothelium is crucial because it is responsible for producing nitric oxide, a natural molecule that keeps your blood vessels wide, flexible, and relaxed. But those deli meat preservatives actively destroy this function. Instead of widening to let blood flow smoothly during sleep, your arteries become stiff, inflamed, and severely constricted. The real problem starts when this happens night after night. By chemically forcing your blood vessels to tighten up, you are directly choking off the vital supply of oxygen and nutrient-rich blood heading straight to your brain. This severe reduction in nighttime cerebral blood flow is a major hidden contributor to what neurologists call silent strokes, tiny localized areas of brain damage that happen without you ever experiencing a major, noticeable medical event. You don't wake up feeling like you had an emergency. Instead, the damage is cumulative and sneaky. You wake up with unusually cold hands and feet, feeling deeply sluggish. Over the course of a few months, you start misplacing your keys more often, or you completely lose your train of thought in the middle of a sentence. You casually blame it on senior moments, totally unaware that your convenient late-night protein snack is systematically starving your brain of oxygen. If you genuinely need a quick protein fix before bed, you must step away from the pre-packaged deli aisle entirely. Keep a small piece of real, unprocessed roasted chicken or oven-baked turkey in the fridge. It gives you the exact same satisfying protein, but without the synthetic chemicals that are quietly suffocating your brain cells while you sleep. And finally, number 1. The absolute worst offender on this list. The food that triggers the most aggressive, damaging reaction in your blood vessels while you sleep is hydrogenated vegetable oil found in ultra-processed packaged snacks. We are talking about potato chips, commercial cookies, microwave popcorn, and store-bought pastries. When you feel a craving for something crunchy or sweet late at night, these convenient snacks are incredibly easy to open and eat mindlessly on the couch. But here's what most people don't realize. The refined seed oils hiding inside these bags, like soybean, corn, canola, and cottonseed oil, are industrially heated and chemically altered to make them infinitely shelf-stable. By the time you eat them, they are highly oxidized and loaded with dangerous trans fats. When you consume these damaged oils right before going to bed, you are essentially pouring liquid sludge into your bloodstream. They immediately trigger a massive oxidative stress storm. Your liver struggles to process these foreign fats, causing your blood viscosity, the actual thickness and stickiness of your blood, to spike drastically. And this is where it becomes deeply dangerous. Because your heart rate naturally drops during deep sleep, pumping this thick, sticky blood requires immense effort. As this inflamed blood moves sluggishly through your arteries, it aggressively accelerates the formation of atherosclerotic plaque. It physically clogs the tiny, delicate capillaries meant to deliver oxygen and nutrients to your brain's memory centers. You wake up feeling dizzy, uncoordinated, and experiencing severe brain fog, completely unaware that your late-night snack just aged your cardiovascular system and choked your brain cells in a single night. Now, to truly protect your brain, knowing what to avoid isn't enough. There are 5 golden rules you must follow for evening nutrition. Rule 1. The 3-hour window. Stop eating completely at least 2.5 to 3 hours before bed. You must allow your digestive system to finish its job before your sleep cycle begins. Rule 2. Neutralize sodium. If you accidentally eat something salty at dinner, Eat a small piece of potassium-rich food, like half a banana or a slice of avocado. Potassium actively flushes out excess sodium, protecting your nighttime blood pressure. Rule 3. No ice-cold drinks. Never drink ice water with an evening snack. Cold temperatures severely constrict your digestive blood vessels, halting digestion and leaving food fermenting in your stomach. Rule 4. Block the sugar spike. Never eat simple carbohydrates alone at night. Always pair them with a healthy fat, like a few raw almonds, to physically slow down absorption and prevent an insulin spike from wrecking your deep sleep. Rule 5. The 10-minute movement. Never go straight from the dining table or the couch to your bed. A gentle 10-minute walk around your house helps normalize your blood sugar and gets your peripheral circulation flowing properly before you lie down. If you choose to ignore these warnings, assuming that a small late-night snack couldn't possibly be doing that much harm, you need to understand the stark reality of what happens next. This isn't about gaining a few extra pounds. When you continually feed your body highly processed oils, concentrated sodium, and hidden sugars right before bed, you are actively choosing to subject your delicate brain tissue to a relentless nightly assault of inflammation and oxygen deprivation. Over time, those tiny microcapillaries in your brain will become permanently damaged and blocked. The senior moments you laugh off today, forgetting a name, misplacing your glasses, losing your train of thought, will steadily accelerate into severe cognitive decline. You run the very real risk of waking up one day and realizing you have lost your sharp mind, your quick wit, and your precious independence. You will be forced to rely on heavy prescription medications just to maintain basic circulation, desperately trying to fix a problem that started years ago in your very own kitchen. Do not wait until a doctor sits you down with a serious diagnosis. The damage is happening right now, silently, while you sleep. But the power to stop it is entirely in your hands. The solution is incredibly straightforward, completely natural, and you can start tonight. You do not need an expensive overhaul of your entire life. You just need to change the specific window of time before you go to sleep. First, establish a strict kitchen-closed policy exactly 3 hours before your head hits the pillow. If you go to bed at 10 p.m., your final bite of food should be swallowed by 7 p.m. This single, simple action allows your insulin levels to drop, your blood pressure to naturally dip, and gives your brain the uninterrupted energy it needs to flush out toxic plaques. Second, if you genuinely experience physical hunger pangs late at night, not just a craving from watching television, but true hunger, swap your processed snacks for brain-safe alternatives. Keep a small container of raw, unsalted walnuts or a few slices of fresh, crisp apple in the front of your fridge. Eat a very small portion, chew it thoroughly, and follow it with a small sip of room-temperature water. Finally, replace that late-night sugary dessert or salty crunch with a calming, vascular-friendly ritual. Brew a warm cup of herbal tea, like hibiscus or chamomile, about an hour before bed. It satisfies the psychological need for an evening treat while actually relaxing your blood vessels and preparing your central nervous system for deep, restorative sleep. Your blood circulation and your memory are not just fading away because you are getting older. They are responding directly to the fuel you provide, especially right before you sleep. Protecting your brain starts with what you choose to put on your plate tonight. I'd love to hear from you. What is your current go-to evening snack? And which of these 7 foods surprised you the most? Drop your answers in the comments below. I read every single one, and we can all learn from each other's experiences. If you found this information valuable and want to take control of your health as you age, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a friend or a family member over 60. It might be the exact warning they need to protect their memory and independence. And one final, critical reminder. Everything I share here is for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you are experiencing sudden memory loss, severe numbness, or any significant changes to your cardiovascular health, please consult with your doctor or a licensed medical professional before making any changes to your diet, supplements, or lifestyle. Take care of your mind and your body, and I will see you in the next video. Ultimately, aging doesn't have to mean a slow, inevitable loss of your sharp mind or your physical vitality. It is often the small, repeated choices we make in the quiet hours of the evening that dictate how we wake up the next morning. By simply clearing your pantry of these late-night hidden dangers and respecting your body's natural need to rest and repair, you are actively defending your independence. Remember, a clear, sharp memory and strong, healthy circulation are the foundations of a vibrant life over 60. Stay proactive about your health, listen to your body, and never underestimate the power of a clean, restful night. If this video opened your eyes today, please leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and hit that subscribe button so we can continue building a healthier future together. Stay sharp, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.